places.
They
yes.
tried to like force us to go as like a group exercise to like this haunted town in Adelaide. I was like, no.
I was like, does the actors want to go? Everyone was
Like,
like,
let's
no.
bond.
There are haunted hotels in Austin if you want to go.
Yeah, you got some,
No,
you got some
don't
names,
tell
guys?
them that.
I'd say it's a horror movie about kids that use demonic possession to get high. There's so many different elements that inspired different parts of the film. So when I was 16, I was in a car crash, and I'd split the top of my eye here open, and they thought I might have broken my spine, and I was in hospital, and I couldn't stop shaking. I felt endlessly cold. I just couldn't stop shaking. They were giving me like water bottles, heated blankets. They were doing anything they could to warm me up, and they couldn't. And then my sister came in. She sat next to me, and she held my hand, and then the shaking just stopped. And it was like, yeah, the touch of someone that I loved was able to bring me out of this state that I was in, because I wasn't cold, I was in shock. And yeah, I remember that just really sticking with me. So touch and connections between people is a big motif in Talk to Me.
Do you think if I was the one that held your hand, the shaking would have
I
stopped?
think I probably would have shaked more.
You know, when he had after that accident and his face was all stitched shut once, and he was acting like he couldn't do anything.
Couldn't.
And I'm like, we had this phone ringing in because we had to share a room when we were kids. And we had this phone in the middle, and it was like, bling, bling, ringing. I'm like, Danny, get it. And he's like, I can't. And I'm like, I grabbed it and threw it, and it hit him in the face.
Oh my God.
And he started screaming.
Yeah. The whole thing was very surreal, and like I didn't even remember what my last name was. Like I was really, really out of it.
Oh yeah, you said that your name was Abraham at the street that we...
The street we lived on. Yeah, my name's Danny Abraham. But yeah, I was like not grounded. Like I didn't, like my feet weren't on the ground. It was like a really, surreal feeling.
I mean, I think what like Danny and Michael have managed to do with this film, like particularly in like an Australian kind of landscape, is really capture the youth culture. Like I think we're not often represented in the way that they've been able to represent us. Like the fact that social media is in there, it's set in an urban landscape, the characters talk like young Australians and young people generally. So I think they've done an amazing job at actually like capturing the kind of spirit of youth culture. Which in Australia I don't think is like kind of often done before.
Yeah, and it was all about like an important part of it as well was finding the authentic actors to portray those characters. And it was always like as soon as we found the person that we were going to cast, like we knew straight away. There was never like, oh, there's two options. It was like we were pretty set when we found Sophie and when we found Zoe plays Haley and all those, Joss. And it was all about like sitting down with a script and then in rehearsal process finding their voice through the script as well and make it feel as real and as authentic as possible. Was like a big part of the process too. Yeah, I think that the hand doesn't just have to necessarily represent drug abuse. I think it represents all vices, whether it's gambling or drinking and drugs. Like I think this represents like an escape to things, like a forced high, like a forced, get out of this low moment. Like it's just like it's a forced connection to,
And if you're doing these things to escape like problems, if you're drinking because you're like trying to cover something up, you're not necessarily going to have a positive experience, as opposed to someone who's like doing it just for fun. So we wanted the spirits to kind of be that they connect with, that are close to the emotions that they're feeling on the inside.
Yeah,
so
the spirits that the kids, as soon as they hold this hand, like what they're feeling inside, like each spirit is attaching onto, like Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. Like social media does glorify boundary pushing and going further with whatever it is. Like there was that whole Tide Pod challenge. Do you remember that was going viral online and stuff like that? So there are these weird, strange, like scary challenges that kids dare themselves to do that go viral online. Yeah.
And then also with social media, like I think it is timeless with young people, but it's usually within the group. Whereas now with social media, it's the world. So it's who's going to push it the furthest. And when there is a trend of something's like popular, and then everyone's kind of trying to top each other. It's not just inside of a friendship circle now. It can be through a whole community online. So I think it adds to, the danger of it.
Yeah, and we're YouTubers as well, so we've seen some crazy, things. Like some people have done some weird things for attention.
Possession?
Yeah, they've given me, yeah. Well, I mean, everyone does the Ouija board and like films and records it or goes and stays into haunted places. Like that's, a recurring trend. Like people are obsessed with
We're obsessed with that.
Yeah, we're obsessed
every
with it as
country
well,
we go to, we want to stay at the most haunted location. So we always search it up in every country and go stay there.
We've stayed at some haunted places.
They tried to like force us to go as like a group exercise to like this haunted town in Adelaide. I was like, no.
I was like, does the actors want to go? Everyone was
Like,
like,
let's
no.
bond.
They're haunted hotels in Austin if you want to go.
Don't tell them that.
Sophie, bonding?
No.
I'm down. I'd love to do it.
Everyone was down but Sophie. I don't know what that. That's not true. No one else was down. They're like, shouldn't we be rehearsing for the movie? I'm like, yeah, we could do it in the haunted town. Yeah, no one was keen for that. I think that's such, it laid the groundwork for the whole entire genre. It started the possession genre, it feels like. So I'm not like ashamed of it being a horror movie or being a possession film. So having those tropes in there is more exciting. It's like you're part of the genre. I don't want to shy away and pretend to be something else when,
Well, I think The Exorcist, what made The Exorcist so, like, I guess timeless. It's like you can watch it now and it still resonates. It's like it works as a drama film as well.
Yeah.
Of like a sickness, and then them think that the mum thinking realistic ways, like how do we deal with this properly, and doing all the normal things you would do to try and figure out what's going on here. Like that isn't possession.
If she was possessed in the first scene and you didn't establish her as a character in the relationship with the mum, it feels like there would be no impact there.
I mean, it's really physical. Like, it requires a lot of kind of emotional energy, but like physical energy. But I don't know how I prepare. Oh no, we like actually in rehearsals. So like we all did each other's possessions so that like no one would feel embarrassed about it. And so that was kind of like a nice way to get into it and like take inspiration from what other people did. So kind of put into your own performance. Yeah, you kind of really do become a different person and embody that spirit in that moment.
She.
Yeah, Sophie did well because there was a lot of like movements with the camera as well, like the choreography and stuff. Sophie was to play around and act to the camera of where it needed to be and things like that. While possessed, like you were doing like multiple different things at once. They're very impressive.
Yeah, and then like even like her possessed voice. There's a scene where she's possessed and she's singing, and she did that for real. And we thought we're gonna have to dub over her voice, but she started singing. We're like, what?
Amazing.
She was like singing in French, like so perfectly. It was so incredible.
I remember
you could sing. What? That was so crazy.
Yeah, but we showed it. You didn't have that long to practice it either. Yeah. And then you just went. You're like, it's this, and it was like really complicated, like singing, and then you just nailed it.
It was so incredible.
It's like she was possessed.
Yes!